Welcome, everybody. What's up? Happy New Year. Welcome to the CBC Wisdom Hour number 194, January 3rd, 2023. I'm Steve Witchell in New Orleans.
And I'm Tony B, version 2023, coming to you live.
So you could have put the version, I guess, in front of it instead of doing the 2.0.
Yeah.
Could it Tony B V 2023? Does that flow as well? I don't know. Tony B 2023 kind of flows.
I like that. Yeah.
I like that too.
That's a good mantra.
Welcome, everybody. Like I said, if you're in here, we're broadcasting live right now on the Facebook page, the Cover Band Central Facebook page, the Cover Band Central Facebook group, and on the Cover Band Central YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. The link is in the description. Click on that link and you can subscribe, hit the bell, and that way you'll know when we're going live. You can check out the archives of all our other Wisdom Hours and all the other videos that are on there. But if you're in here live, come on in and say hello and tell us where you're from. We will say hello back. And might even bring you into the discussion if you have something to ask, something to ask or something to say or anything like that. Also, I did it last time and I'll do it at the top here. Cover Band Central, where is, I should have the link ready. There it is. CoverBandCentral.com is the hub for all Cover Band Central. Go there. You can sign up for a profile for you, your band, or both. It is free. CoverBandCentral.com. That's a www.coverbandcentral.com. Go check it out. I did not put the link in the description for that.
That's okay, Steve. I think they know where to go.
Bad me. Charles says, rock on.
Rock on, Charles. Happy New Year.
As we do. Julie sent a star. Oh, you can, I keep forgetting to mention that too. During this broadcast, you can send a digital gift of stars. If you like what we do this gratis. So you can send some stars along the way during this hour. Or if you're watching the replay, even you could send stars. 1 star equals 1 cent. So you can buy them
stars anytime, Steve. Before, after,
anytime,
during, tomorrow, Friday, whenever you want.
Yeah, whenever you want. You buy them in packs on Facebook. They're cheap, and you can, could send stars our way. We sure do appreciate it, and we feel the love. Eric's here. Speaking of feeling the love, he says, "Happy New Year, Handsome Devils."
Happy New Year.
I saw Eric a time or two over the last week, which I'll talk about. George is in the Windy City. Says Happy New Year. George is a repeat listener. Grace says hello from Dallas. Hi, Grace. There she is with Gene Simmons or somebody that looks like Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
Like it. Charles again. Happy New Year. He's in Tampa. Marianne over in Scotland says
Happy New Year.
Or Ireland. Did I say Scotland?
You did.
I think she's in Ireland.
Where? Long Island?
Ireland in Europe. Deborah's here. Says happy 2023.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Grace said that's my dad as Gene Simmons.
Ah, right. Well, maybe Gene Simmons is her dad.
Oh, maybe Gene Simmons is her dad. I don't know. How many kids does Gene Simmons? He probably has a lot of kids.
I think so. I
don't know who they are or their names. So
that's a cool rockin' dad if it's not Gene, though.
Yeah. He's a rocker. He likes
Very
Kiss.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, he's in a tribute band, I guess. He's in a tribute band called Rock and Roll Over.
Yeah.
There you go.
Looks good.
Yeah. Jensine, I think, is from Pennsylvania. Checking in.
What's up? Happy New Year.
Love to have you guys here. We do this once a week, mostly, unless we're preempted by some other thing going on.
We've gotten a lot better at the consistency of it, though.
We have gotten better at it, and we've gotten better at picking some topics to talk about.
Yeah, I hope so. After almost 200 episodes, come on now.
Yeah,
we're approaching
I think
200, Steve.
I know. Didn't Gene Simmons have a reality show with his wife and kids? I know he had a reality show, but I never saw it.
I remember seeing it.
I never wanted to see it.
I do recall. I don't remember the name of it, but I remember seeing it.
So I like Gene Simmons in Kiss. He's great in Kiss. But as far as his other stuff that he does, it's I don't know. But whatever, to each his own.
Hey, given the great success of Kiss, I don't think he really has to do anything he wants to do.
Mark likes your drums.
Oh, nice, thanks, dude. Here, check him out.
He said they make a statement.
Woo!
What statement are they making? What statement would you say they're making, Tony?
What statement would I say they're making? I would say it's making a statement of elegance and a sonic experience like never heard before.
Mm.
They make a statement. They're bold. They're unique. They're very different. Anytime I have taken them out, people always come up and comment on them and say what a beautiful kit it is, and it really is a beautiful kit. And it's discontinued, Steve, but you can buy them on eBay for like triple the cost of what they used to cost. But you have to remember too that the set behind me is a combination of multiple iterations of that kit.
Right.
They made like a jazz bop kit with an 18-inch kick, and then they made a rock kit with a 22-inch kick, and then over the time I bought both. So I have 18-inch kick, I have 22-inch kick, I have all the toms. I have these drums over my shoulder here were all black Gretsch concert toms to match the maple Gretsch that this kit is, and
Hmm.
I wrapped them with contact paper and painted them to match. So if I want to restore them, I can just peel the paper off and they'll be back to black lacquer again.
Oh, that's super cool.
Pretty hip.
That's the statement Mark says they make. It's awesome. They say, "I am here. Love me."
Yeah, I like that statement better than mine, Mark. I'm gonna start using that. See,
Yeah.
awesome. I am here. Come love me.
Definitely a unique color for drums. You don't see like powder blue drums usually.
No, well, it is a 57 Chevy color, and this is the Gretsch Motor City Blue edition. And they had a Motor City Black and a Motor City Red. And you
Hmm.
can't see it, but it's got a chevron on it, like on the front. It's got like a white chevron with chrome. It looks like a
Mhm.
grill. It looks like a grill of a car, or like the fins on a 57 Chevy.
Wow. So you
Yes.
put a lot of thought into this, huh?
Oh yeah.
You
No,
know, just
I'll tell you what, that a funny story. I'll tell you real quick. So when that kit came out, they only made them for like a year or two, and then they discontinued them. So I was at Richie's teaching, right, and I saw our good friend George Sigler up there, and I
mhm.
walked in, and that drum set was set up right when you walk into Richie's, and it was exactly like Mark had said. It was like striking. I was like, man, I've never seen a color like that before. And George was like, either people love it or they hate it. It's like one of those things, you know?
Right.
And then he gave me a great deal on it, and I bought it. And then I took it to a gig and I surprised everybody. I got there early to set it up and put a cover on it. And then when they pulled up, I was like, voila. And I flung it open and everyone was like, oh, wow.
Nice, nice.
And they're maple, so they sound different than my Yamaha kit, which is a birch. So it's good to have some variety.
Very cool.
But it even comes, Steve. This is a little added bonus. Check this out.
Oh, nice. Is that
Matching
where you're
seats.
is that where you're sitting on right now?
No, I'm sitting on a different
Oh,
behind,
okay. I
behind,
was gonna say
behind me. No, I'm not that
the
tall.
drummer on his a different throne.
A different throne. I'm sitting on a throne, just not that one. I
Gotcha.
actually am sitting on another drum stool because it's adjustable. It's comfortable. It's all
It's
good.
funny the audacity of drummers to call their seat the throne.
It's not drummers, man. That's what it's called. Drummers
And
sit on a
well,
throne. It's a drum throne. It's not a drum seat. It's not a drum chair. It's a
but
throne.
it could be a drum seat or a drum chair.
It's not referred to as that, though. I guess since
It's
medieval times, people have realized that thrones just aren't for kings.
that drummers are royalty, is what you're saying.
Yes, as my drum teacher once told me when I was a young boy, remember this, son. It's called a throne for a reason. Left me with that thought.
That was it.
That was it.
All right. It's
So
called
you're
a
left to
throne.
your own imagination on that one.
Right. It could be like you're sitting on the toilet all the time.
Could be like a porcelain throne. Could be like you're the
Right.
king of the band. You could be like you're the king of nothing. You could be a prince hoping to aspire to be a king.
Right.
Even beginners sit on a throne, Steve. It's not like you start playing drums and you say, okay, little Johnny, you're going to sit on that drum stool and someday you'll sit on the throne. Day one, it's like, let's go, man. You're sitting on a throne.
Right. I like it. Uh, very cool. So again, people, if you're coming in and joining us right now, come on in and say hello. Tell us where you're from, so we know where in the world we're reaching.
Yeah, let's go. Let's hear about it.
Greg said weird wet stuff falling from the sky here in California,
Hmm.
Orange County, I guess. Probably means it's raining in Southern California right now.
Could be weird stuff falling from the sky.
But I thought it never rains in Southern California.
Could be anything, though, Steve. Southern California.
Weird wet stuff is what he's saying.
Could be some damp smog getting blown down.
You can take that for what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, Tony.
Happy New Year, Steve.
We got to talk about my last week was six nights in a row, or 6 days of gigging in a row. Some of those days were a double. But let's talk.
Starting Friday.
No, I started Tuesday. I
Tuesday,
worked
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
correct
Nice. Okay, but I
of
interrupted you.
last week.
Sorry.
But let's get to your New Year's. I saw some pictures that Karen, your wife, put up,
Yep.
and it looked like you were either at a party or hosting a party.
I was not hosting a party. My neighbor had a party.
Okay,
So I took the long drive next door. Uh, about 25 people, maybe. It
the
was,
long drive next.
yeah, I took the long drive next door, had designated driver to get home.
Right.
And it was a great time. Started around 5, had to pace myself, I got there a little later, though. I think I got there 6:30.
Uh,
But, by 10 o'clock, some people were fading because they had started going hard early.
10 o'clock.
Yeah, well, they
Er,
started drinking at 5 and they didn't pace themselves. So by 10 o'clock, some people were already like, woo. Where I was drinking like 2 drinks and then a bottle of water, and
Uh-huh.
then a drink and a bottle of water. And then like 10 o'clock, I started drinking.
The whole idea of a New Year's party is to make it to midnight and celebrate the new year, right?
Correct. So we made it till 2:30. So we did good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
2:30.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We stayed right. We were some of the last people to leave.
Well, again, you only have
Being
to walk.
I'm only next door, so it's
That's
really
right.
not that heavy of a lift. But it was great, because when I first moved on my block, we used to hang out with all the neighbors because all our kids were young; they were the same age,
Right.
and we'd like Karen and I would host a winter party. Someone would do 4th of July, someone would do Memorial Day, someone would have a pig roast, and it was like the whole block would get the same 20 people would get together all the time.
Hmm.
And it was great. And then as the kids got older, once they like got out of high school and they graduate and they're not like on the block anymore, people get busy. It's less frequent. So it was nice, to see everybody. So I haven't probably gotten together with everybody since like before COVID. Like, like all the neighbors together.
Right, right.
And
Uh,
some new friends too, some old familiar faces and some new people. So it was really good time. Like I said, my neighbor Ray and Michelle did very gracious at awesome time. They did a great job hosting. I mean, they really went all out. They had food, liquor, house was all decorated, they had party games, cool party games too, dude. Like, for drunk people, right? A giant ball, like 3 or 4 rolls worth of saran wrap with presents and gifts and gags wrapped inside it. So the ball's about the size of bigger than a basketball, but not quite like a medicine ball size or a beach ball.
right.
And you have to put on oven mitts. And then you sit at the table and everyone's there. And it's like, all right, Steve, you're going first, right? And so I give you the ball, you put the oven mitts on, and I say, go. And you have to start trying to unwrap this thing. You can't find the end. You have oven mitts on. And I'm rolling dice right next to you. And as soon as I roll a pair, you're done. You got to pass to the next person. So people would
Wow.
be like ripping through it and get like 2 wraps away from this cool present. It's like, up, stop, doubles, pass the next one.
That
And
is a crazy drinking game.
yeah, and then some people would like, all right, Steve, go. And my first roll, I roll doubles. Like, stop. So you like pull off like okay, stop.
That seems like it would take a long time too.
It probably took 20 minutes with 8 people working it nonstop.
That's a good amount of time for a game, for a
Yeah,
drinking game.
it was
Not
great.
too long. It's not too quick. It's long
No,
enough where you can get into it and you're laughing your ass off probably.
yeah, it's not like one continuous roll of saran wrap. So you can't just grab it and like throw it across the room like a slingshot. It's like unravel because the pieces were all cut to different lengths. So you might pull out
Oh
a
no.
6 feet and all of a sudden it's gone. Now you got to find the end of the next one. So it was fun.
And what was the prize?
Oh, there was all kinds of prizes, dude. There was like lottery tickets. There was bubble bath, a loofah. Um, trying to think what else was in that thing. I think a deck of cards. Some
Oh, so just like novelty.
gag
pri-
gifts. Yeah, like fun stuff.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Hand sanitizer. Oh, and then the center was a pack of Oscar Mayer wieners. That was the prize, grand prize.
Oh
Pack
man.
package of hot dogs.
Wow, that's funny.
Everyone's so
I
excited.
love that idea. So does everybody get their own oven mitts or you have to pass the oven mitts
No, you got to
along?
pass the oven mitts along as you go. And you
Hmm.
can't start rolling the dice until you got the mitts on. You're ready to go. Ready, Steve? Go.
Right. And how many balls in total for the game did you do? Would you say
What do you mean?
6? Oh, so weren't
No,
there?
it's one giant ball with
Uh,
all this stuff wrapped in it. So like I
oh,
got
so
us.
it's wrapped at certain levels.
No, like I take Oscar Mayer wiener hot dogs, right? And I
Right.
start wrapping them with Saran wrap. Then I rip the
Right.
piece off, and then I put a loofah on top of that, and I wrap it a little bit,
That's
and
what
then
I say. It's
yeah,
at
and then I put
different
rubber bands
levels,
on.
like
Yes, as you peel back the onion, so to speak, stuff starts to appear.
a gobstopper. You get to the different.
Yeah, exactly. It's the middle of a gobstopper is a lot better than an Oscar Mayer hot dog.
Right.
That's why you break your teeth trying to crack them open to get to the inside fast.
That's a great drinking game.
Yeah, it was good. We had a lot of fun.
So you didn't play over the weekend, then New Year's Eve.
I did not play. No,
Yeah.
because and I'll tell you why. Because for years, probably like, oh man, at least 15 years, I would say, we played New Year's every year.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, I'm missing all the parties. Karen's going to the neighbors' parties by herself, and it was like, so maybe maybe 5, 6 years ago, I said, I'm not doing New Year's anymore.
Good for you.
I want to be home. I want to be able to hang. I want to have, I want to enjoy it. So I
Good
don't
for
play.
you.
So I don't play New Year's anymore.
Good for
But I
you.
am playing this weekend, Saturday night. So we're right back in the saddle again.
Nice. Starting the new year off
But
right.
I took the time off, Steve, to put all new heads on my drums, top and bottom. I tuned everything. I went through my board and EQ'd everything, and I'm coming out 2023 swinging, baby, ready to go.
Love it. I played 6 nights in a row. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night with Cornerstone. That's with Jason at Bourbon Bandstand. For those who don't know, I play on Bourbon Street in New Orleans full time, but generally only Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But this past week, we got the call. The band that normally does that shift couldn't do it, so we were asked to, and we accepted. And so Thursday, Friday, or Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, then Friday night with Rockbox, then Saturday day, New Year's Eve with Cornerstone, and Saturday night with Rockbox, and then rung in the new year there, and then Sunday, same thing, double Cornerstone during the day and Rockbox at night. So 50 sets in the last week.
That's the record, man. That's a new record for you. 33 was the previous one. You shattered that, Steve.
In a week, yeah. 50 sets, which amounts to about 500 songs.
Yeah, every bit of
it. In the last week. Facebook user says, happy birthday, Steve. Thank you. But Tony's here, too. And
he says, happy New Year, Steve.
Or happy New Year. I mean, not birthday. Birthday's
is your birthday today, Steve?
No, it's July. But Tony's here, too. You could say happy New Year to him, too.
That's right. I don't want a happy New Year.
I got to put our names up so everybody knows. Tony B, 2023.
That's me.
So yeah, a lot. And I'm glad I did it.
So how busy was it on New Year's Day after all the partying from New Year's Eve? That's Sunday.
It was busy. Yeah, it was busier than you would think, but it wasn't, crazy busy. But it was. I mean, a lot of people were still out. New Year's Eve, they had the Sugar Bowl here at the Superdome. So that brings in the fans from those college teams into town. And the game was Saturday, New Year's Eve. So people are still there from it on Sunday. And it was because it was Alabama and Kansas State. And Alabama's close enough where people can drive. It's only a couple hours. So there were people Sunday. But, Saturday night or Saturday day, kind of busy, but then Saturday night, once it starts to get dark, that's where it just gets insane with the amount of people. But it's not like the club had a lot of people, but it wasn't jam packed. I've seen that club packed more on non New Year's Eve or non Mardi Gras days. But if you go out in the street, ridiculous. I mean, just wall to wall people on the street. So I was trying to stay. I was like, there was a couple songs where I get a break and I'm off stage and I can go kind of stand outside a little bit or stand by the door. And I went and stood outside and Vince, the guitar player, was there and his girl was there. And they were tucked in like the corner right by the door. And I was trying to stand out there and there was vomit on the ground, like a foot away from me, and then the other set, like it was just too many people, and like I was like, the safest place is on stage right now.
Yeah, I'm going back. I'm going
Like
back in.
I have nowhere to go right here.
Yeah, you're like trapped.
But super fun when it's a big crowd. Um,
Oh yeah, I'm sure they were
how many?
rowdy as hell too, right?
Greg said, "How many times did we play Tennessee Whiskey over the 6 days?" And the answer to that is, uh, I know more than four. I want to say,
Hmm.
um, which is not necessarily normal. But I remember that Tennessee Whiskey specifically because I was listening to that track during the week, and I was thinking like, and I wasn't really playing it right. I was kind of doing my own thing, so I listened to the track, even though it's very simple bass line. I listened to the track. I was like, all right, I really want to play it just like the track. But then we didn't play it for a couple days. I was like,
So you reverted back to the Steve version?
no. When we
Oh,
finally did play it, I went and played it like the track. I'm like, okay, this feels better.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was like four maybe times, and only with the one band, the day band, the night band, we would not play that song.
Okay.
That is
Hey, is the day band and night band have vastly different set lists, like different musical styles? You guys, are there any overlap? Do you guys play the same songs in both bands at all?
there's some overlap with the popular stuff like the Journey, the Bon Jovi, um, a few more like classic rock stuff like Can't Get Enough by Bad Company. Both bands would play. Um, Keep Your Hands to Yourself by Georgia Satellites. Both bands play. I Want You to Want Me by Cheap Trick. Both bands play. But there's more songs that are not overlapped. The day band is more leans towards because one of our singers is more of a country artist, country singer. We don't really do a lot of country songs. We'll do like the Garth Brooks and um, like the couple Garth Brooks songs and Tennessee Whiskey. I guess you could sort of consider country. We'll do that,
Ish.
and yeah, and we do more like like Skinner and that kind of stuff. Um,
Gotcha.
whereas the night band, we're doing more, leaning more towards the hard rock
Hmm.
stuff. So Rush, Styx, Foreigner, um, Motley Crue, Van Halen. Uh,
Cool.
yeah, that kind of stuff is the night band. So it's a lot of different songs. It's a lot of songs to know for sure. But
Yeah.
so I picked this topic today, which I've shared with you already now
Yep.
about personal relationships. But I want to tell the story before I even get into that. I want to tell the story about the new year when the new year rang in, and this kind of ties into it. But so we one of the guys in the band, Sonny, one of the singers, he plays with us during the day. He plays keyboards in the day band and sings in the night band with both bands that I play in. And all day he had his phone and he was counting. Uh, uh, he had the hours, the minutes, and the seconds left until midnight. And he started like early in the afternoon, like 2:30, and he's like, "All right, it's 58,000 seconds till." And he kept announcing it. It was funny, and then during the day, and then at night, and he was doing it on his phone again, and it was great because it was going down. 10,000, 5,000. It was like only 10,000 seconds left, and I'm like that seems like a lot, but yeah, 10,000 seconds is only a few hours. Um, so he's doing that. So when it came up to midnight, he's got the phone to official so he can count it down. And he was, announced it right before we stopped playing, probably about 3 minutes before
Uh-huh.
midnight, got the crowd all riled up. And then it did the countdown, everybody cheers. And everybody's got their instruments off, and some of the guys had their girls there, and they come up on stage. Everybody's hugging, Happy New Year. And then the DJ starts playing like an Auld Lang Syne song, but it was more like a dance rock Auld Lang Syne. It wasn't the traditional.
Okay.
So it was getting people, people dancing, and they're singing along. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a fairly long song. Now I'm on stage for a long time, and I'm drinking something, water, beer, shots. I'm kind of drinking. So, which means I got to pee a lot. I'm fortunate in this band that Sonny, the guy I mentioned with the countdown, can play bass. He plays everything. So if I need a pee break, I give him the bass, and
He'll
he'll,
play a
I'll go
song
take a
while
pee
you
break.
take a little break. Yeah.
Yeah. So usually, as long as he's not singing, we'll do that. So I had to pee. I had to pee for a while. I'm looking at the clock, like 20 to 12. I'm like, oh, I gotta pee, man. And so midnight comes, everybody's hugging. The DJ puts on Long Lang Syne, and I'm like looking around, and their girlfriends are on stage and stuff, and they're rapping and drinking and whatever. I'm like, all right, I can run to the bathroom now. I have time. So I get off stage, run back to the bathroom. Hey, Elizabeth's here. She says hello.
Hey, Elizabeth, Happy New Year.
Um, Eric said I need to start walking down the street, give him a pee break. He's 2 blocks away from me. He basically plays the same time. So I'm like, okay, I got time to pee. So I run up the stage. I fight my way through the crowd. It's all the bathrooms all the way in the back. There's people in there, but the bathroom attendant, there's a bathroom attendant in there. It's a small bathroom, but there's this guy that sits there. And for the guys, the urinal is a trough.
Right.
And it's like an L-shaped trough, and it's a small bathroom. So, and then there were like 3 guys standing there. I'm like, I'm not doing the trough thing. And then there's the urinal or the toilet, the stall, which the attendant kind of sits in front of, and he doesn't really let people in there, except for me because I work there. So I like let me in. So I go in the stall, and I pee real quick as I can, because I got like, how is there this much liquid in my body? I have no idea. But then, okay, get out. And as soon as I get out, I hear the keyboards playing, and it's the intro to Living on a Prayer. And I'm like, oh shit. And I gotta work my way through the crowd again and get to the stage to start the song.
Yeah, you got
bass right in the beginning of the song. So I hear it. I get out of the bathroom, and I hear the keyboards, and I look up on the stage, and Sonny's got my bass on. Now, Sonny's supposed to sing this song too, and this is the first song
of the new year.
Of the new year, people are just did their toes, they're hugging, they're ready to rock. This is a perfect song to get people singing and stuff. Yeah. And so I'm not on stage. So now I see, so I start fighting my way up, and then the song starts, and Sonny's playing, so I get to the side of the stage, and now I'm thinking, all right, I guess Sonny's going to play this because he just started the song. And then I look at Vince, who is I'm stage right. The staircase to get on stage is stage left. So I have to go all the way across the stage from the staircase when I get up there. So, but on stage left is Vince, the guitar player. And I get to the side, and he looks at me, he goes, like get up here now. So I'm like, okay, I get up on stage, and now in most cases, to transition to hand a guitar or a bass over to the other person, bass, it's kind of easy because generally you're playing one note at a time. So the person who's playing it can hold that note and take the strap off, hand it over to you, put it around your neck, and you put your finger on the note, seamless, right? Or if it's an open string, even easier. You hit the open string, you take it off, you put it on the other person, perfect, seamless. You don't even notice. But we're at so I'm like, all right.
So you started doing that in the mic, and he stopped playing the bass and handed it to you.
No, so I'm standing behind him, and I'm thinking about, I'm like, no, I gotta wait until it gets to the hold on. Because now that's one note, C, D, and E. So it'd be easier than having that bass pattern going to do the transition. So he's singing. So he's got his mic stand, and he's got a wireless mic, and he's up there, and I'm standing behind him, and he starts singing the verse. And then it gets to that part, and I'm like, I kind of tap him, and then he takes it off, and I put my finger on the C, and then I start doing the bass part. And as he's handing it to me, the strap comes off. I didn't have strap locks on it. The strap comes off on the right side. So now it falls. And now I'm like, I'm heading towards the ground to keep it from falling on the ground. And then Sonny steps on the cable.
And pulls it out.
The instrument cable and pulls it out of the bass. So now there's no bass.
So that's perfect. Now's the perfect time to put it on, Steve. No one's going to miss it because it's not.
No, there's no bass. Well, you're right. but now the strap is off and there's no bass. So my first priority at that point was to get bass
Plugged back in
again,
again. Right.
have bass playing. So I kind of sit down and I reach down and I grab the cable and I'm fumbling with it because the song is going,
Yeah.
and Sonny's singing and
then you just put it on your foot and play it like an upright until you got to the song ended.
no, I like sat down and I was like sort of on my knees, kind of crouching. So I fumbled, I get the cable in, it conk, as I plug it in.
Yeah, sure.
And then, so now I'm playing the song, I'm fine. But now still, I'm playing the song. I can't put the strap back on. So Sonny comes back. He's got the wireless now. And he's singing. And he comes back behind me and he grabs the strap.
And puts it on.
And he tries to, and he over my head. And then he's going, and then he drops it. And then it falls over on the side. And then, he did that like 2 or 3 times where over and then over finally. And hooking it up. And finally it's up. And I stand up but the whole time he's doing that, he's trying to put the strap on. I'm laughing my ass off. I'm looking at the people in the front row and they're watching me and they're laughing. And I'm cracking up because I was like, this is just, what a way to start the new year.
Yeah. Sounds like a comedy act. Guys,
oh my God.
Sideshow. You're a sideshow, so it's
I know, but I couldn't have planned that way. I certainly wouldn't have wanted to plan it that way.
See, what drummers do is you could stand up. The guy coming in could start, playing, put his foot on the hi-hat and play the hi-hat part. You're still hitting the snare on 2 and 4 and playing the kick, Then he starts on the 2 and the 4, and then he slides in at the opportune time to get his foot in as you exit.
Right. Yeah, drums, it's a little bit easier.
For sure. No cables to unplug, no straps to fall off, Good stuff.
Yeah. So it was funny. So the lesson learned there is,
yeah. What's the moral of the story, Steve?
Don't drink so much, so I have to pee all the time.
See, the little known fact, Steve, is that part of the reason why it's called a throne. You ever see drummers get up to take a piss? No.
Yes.
Not if I'm on the throne. I don't have to. I just open the lid. Sit there real quiet, one-handed for a little bit, and then zip up and keep going.
Lucky you. Rose is here
from the wiser
from Maryland. She says Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Rose.
Mel said agree. I don't know agree with what, but agree with something. All right, if you're just joining us, come on in and say hello. Tell us where you're from.
Talking about pee breaks and bringing in the new year.
Yeah. Tell us where you're from, and we'll say hello back now. If you have a question or topic you want to discuss, let us know. But we'll get to the topic now, I suppose. So I thought of this over the weekend because I was like, playing with Rockbox and thinking about like how much stage time I'm putting in, and then I'm thinking, even more than, the stage time might be more in hours, but the time I spend with these people off stage is vital to the relationship on stage. And I've met so many people and forged so many relationships because of the fact that I play in a band, and I'm not alone. That happens to everybody. And it's kind of like you have a day job maybe in an office, and the job itself becomes really kind of secondary to the relationships you have with the people.
Sure.
There. I think that's not really emphasized enough in our industry, and how important it is, and how valuable it is, and how really kind of wonderful it is that, like, the relationship you and I have, we wouldn't have had if we weren't musicians.
That's right.
And if the stars didn't align in that certain way where I ended up subbing for your band,
we would have never met, probably.
Would have never met. We would have never known each other. And that just from some simple, overall, I think you and I played maybe a couple dozen gigs together at the most, probably.
Yeah, maybe 50 tops.
Yeah, right? Something like that.
You're like a typical week for you is like like 4 years for that we played in the band together. Whatever it was. But you know what's interesting too, Steve? You say that, and it's like after you and I became friends and started talking, it's like, oh, you know who, and you know this guy, and you know George, and you know Billy O, and you know this guy, and it's like all of a sudden, it's like the whole circle of musicians friends that we both knew independently. Now it's conjoined.
Conjoined, yes. Joe Montagna, sorry. Cover
Slack
band Slack
Tide.
Tide in Alaska. I like that name.
Slack Tide.
Kind of has a ring to it. Are we going to start crying? Desna asked, and maybe.
Can you cry? Can you cry on command?
I don't
How
know.
good of an actor are you?
I've
Can you
never.
make
I'm
yourself
a
cry?
pretty good actor, but I don't know if I could cry on command. I've never tried that.
Hmm.
Nor do I want to right now.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, she's asking if you're going to cry, so it's like put
yeah.
1,000 stars in the bucket, and I'll start crying for you.
There you go. Is there a P cup they've developed? There probably is
I'm sure there is.
some sort of catheter type of thing that you can.
Some kind of pea glove you can put on, like a satchel, has a little collector in it, runs down your leg into like a little collection area. That'd be
I
pretty
don't
cool.
know if you could do that. Like, because drummers are very adept at multitasking there with two hands, 2 feet. But I don't know if you could do 2 hands, 2 feet, and
And pee at the same time.
urinate at the same time.
I think it's possible.
You do?
I
Yeah.
do.
Okay.
I think it could be done.
You're probably right.
Depends how bad you got to go, right? And if you knew you could just pee in your pants and there was no repercussions, I'm sure you'd get used to doing that.
That's true. That would be great, wouldn't it?
I gotta write that down. Johnny, write that down. I'm gonna have Johnny write that down for another idea invention.
Uh,
Musicians pee tube.
right.
Never missed a gig, and the commercial could be you and Sonny. Like, has this ever happened to you? And it's like you're in the bathroom and you're talking to the attendant, then you're on stage and your bass is falling over, it's unplugged, and everyone's like, ha ha ha, laughing. You're like, you don't want to be that guy. You want to be this guy. And they show the drummer who's like playing. He's like,
Right.
look how happy and relaxed that guy is. Oh yeah, he's urinating right now. Oh,
Well,
excellent.
can you pull that off? Depends.
There you go. Yeah. That's the other option too. That could be a little bit uncomfortable though. Especially if you're drumming and you're sitting down the whole time. You'd be sitting in pee. That's not good.
Yeah. And it would stink.
We would want that. Yeah, we would want that.
Uh,
Didn't have to go in and change it, like give it to the attendant in the bathroom or something.
right.
He probably wouldn't appreciate that either, Steve.
No.
But
Not
maybe
at all.
like you could sneak into the stall and leave it on top of the toilet for the next guy, and just be like, "All
There
right,
you go.
Bobby, thanks, brother. See you later."
Right.
Wash your hands, get the little hand towel, and you're back on stage. And
I'll,
they're like, "Steve, can you announce on the mic that people can't leave their diapers in the bathroom?" You'd be like, "Sure, no problem."
yes.
Don't forget to tip your bartenders. We'll be back here tomorrow night. And by the way, please don't leave any diapers in the bathroom. Thank you. Adult
Right.
or infantile.
Right. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year's a dirty diaper for you.
So there's another example though, which is it kind of. I don't think I've told you about this, and it's kind of wild. There's a guy who moved to New Orleans, unbeknownst to me, uh, who's originally from New Jersey, earlier this in 2022, and I didn't. I heard that, like I heard his first name. That somebody had said, this guy is playing, and I heard the first name. I was like, I wonder if that's the guy I know from Jersey, because it's a unique name, or not unique, but it's just not as common of a first name. And then I kind of
is it Calvin Harris?
no,
Oh.
but then I forgot about it, and then a couple months later, I heard it again, and then the full name, I was like, oh, shit, it is him, and then I didn't see him until a little while after that, and then we kind of jammed. And I think I talked about it before with you here. We did one gig where I was subbing and he was there, and then a couple here and there. But Mike in the day band, my guitar player hurt his hand about a month ago. So this guy, his name's Abe. He's been playing with the day band with me and Jason, and it's great. Abe's a great guitar player. I always thought he was, and he had to come in and like learn a lot of songs that all the bands are doing, being a
Hmm.
sub, and he's done real well. But he and I got to talking over the last couple of weeks, and he mentioned like he was listening to audiobooks, and he mentioned one by Neville Goddard, who is like along the same lines of all the stuff that you and I are into, that you and I talk about, energy, law of attraction, all the positivity, all the stuff that you write about on your thought for the day every day.
Hmm.
And so it turns out that we have a lot of that in common. Like that Abe and I, the books that we listen to and the philosophy that we live by. I mean, he would fit in with me and you with Wisdom Hour, just the
Cool.
same ideas and concepts. And and I played with him in Jersey in like around when I was playing with you, 2005, I want to say. So almost 18 years ago. And, somebody that I never really, like I knew him, I liked him. We got along well. We played well together. But we never got tight or anything. We just, it was just kind of a personal relationship, but not a very casual one, more of an acquaintance and somebody I jam with. But we stayed, like friends on social media and all that, but never really, corresponded much. Um, and now it's like just through some certain circumstances, somebody else recruited him. And I'm not going to tell you who. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but um, it wasn't me that brought him down, but it turned out that we ended up uh,
Connecting.
crossing paths and connecting and now playing together and now connecting on this other level where I get to kind of talk about the philosophies of stuff that I believe in and that I live by with somebody else now in my real life, other than you,
Right.
where,
Right. Yeah. Like minded.
yeah, like-minded, where I get to play on stage with all the time now. So the last 6 days of playing, 5 of those days I played with him. Um, so I mean, that was another reason I was thinking about personal relationships, like how important each one is, and when you're playing in a band, how important it is to be your best self and be cool to people and be respectful to people, and appreciate the experience that you have. And not every relationship's going to turn out great. Some will be, just like blah, whatever. Some might end up shitty, but some you might forge like incredible friendships or even romantic relationships. You might meet your partner in a music environment for some reason. Um, and it just struck me this weekend about that, about how important it is to just be true to yourself, be your best self, and be cool to people.
Well, what's interesting about that, Steve, too, is like the chain of events that occur from things like that, right? Like I can remember back in the early '90s playing the cricket club, right? And it was all original bands back then, no cover bands. It was all original, and we were playing the downstairs. You ever played a cricket club in Irvington?
I never did.
So they had
Jersey represent, Justin.
Yeah, so they had a downstairs room, which was a big giant room with like a 30-foot ceiling in it, right? Because it was a two-level club, but it was like the upper level, and then you came down these stairs, and then you're in the lower level, but the ceiling was the same height as the upper level, like it was tiered.
Okay.
So you played it was a corner stage, but it was a real deal. It had like full side stage. Dave Seal was the sound man. He was like the house guy. Great sound engineer. I used to bring the Yamaha kit, the Mega kit, right? Because that's what we used to tour with, So it was like, forget what back in the day might have been 15-piece kit, with all the cymbals, drums, and double kick. And we used to play the downstairs room. And so I set my giant setup, and we're playing with a band called Eternal Vision, right? And Joe Bergamini is a drummer in that band. I didn't know Joe. And he came up to me and he says, "Oh, hey man, how's it going?" He says, he says, "I bring a big drum set, and I just had to meet the guy who brought a bigger drum set than I did." Right. So we start laughing. We hit it off right away. No egos, no nothing. We're both established on the scene, but we never really ran into each other. And then, he played, we played. And at the end of the night, I was like, wow, I'm like, guys are great, man. Great band. And he's like, dude, he's like, you studying with anybody? And I said, yeah, I was taking lessons with Sonny Igo, and he was in my hometown. And he says, there's a guy in Long Island, Dom Famularo. He says, you should really, I got to connect you with him. Like after our conversation, he's like, your philosophy, your style of playing, your level of ability, you got to be introduced to this guy. So he's at Long Island Drum Center. Long story short, so I call up and the guys, they say, "Oh no, there's like a 50-person waiting list right now for lessons with Dom. Like check back in like 4 or 5 months."
Wow.
And I said, no, I said, yeah, but I said, but Joe Bergamini said to call and talk to Dom about this, that, and the other thing. And he said, all right, I'll pass the message along, and leave your number. So within like an hour or so, because towards the end of the day, I guess he was done teaching. Then Dom called me back, and he's like, he said, I talked to Joe, and Joe highly recommended that you come study with me. So if Joe's recommending you, you can skip the line. You can come right,
Wow, look at you. You got
yeah,
the right this way, sir. You can come
yeah,
through the
yeah.
yes.
And then, 30 years later now, here we are, and I've been best friends with both of those guys. And that developed into a beautiful friendship. Dom became a mentor of mine, super positive guy. Look him up on YouTube. Phenomenal drummer, a drum solo like you've never seen before. So all
Wow.
you people out there, look him up. Dom Famularo, Famularo. Solo drum clinician, motivational speaker, travels the world, Sabian educational director for the company, Vic Firth. He's all over the globe. Uh, so he's hit, I think, every country that there is to hit in the entire globe. He's traveled the entire world playing drums. But phenomenal, like story, like you said, you meet this guy, he introduces the next guy, and then through Dom, I got introduced to all kinds of companies and endorsements and other musicians, and I got to meet all kinds of famous people and all my idols because he's professional, so he's friends with Kenny Arnoff and Chad Smith and Rich Redmond and all these guys. He just knows everybody, because he's played with everybody.
Right. Like Desna said, small world connections are important. We should get Dom on as a guest then.
Oh yeah, you'd love him. He'd be a handful on the show. That's for sure. He'd be a
Um,
lot of fun.
yeah, I mean, you have the connection, right?
Yeah,
Are you in contact with him?
oh yeah, I talk to him all the time.
There you go. So let's get. We need to start getting some guests on this show because it's always you and I, and not that we ever run out of stuff to talk about. We never do somehow. Um,
No, where does the time go, Steve? We always have stuff to talk about.
right, but
But
we need to have some guests, and I did reach out to Paul, so I got to reach out again. Paul did agree to come on. It's Paul Riario from Guitar
yeah,
World, and
and another
he's
guy, like you said, he's your friend, right? But I know him too in a roundabout way from playing drums with his brother. His brother was a guitar player too.
right. So I got to now that it's a new year, new wisdom hours, I got to reach out and try to get some guests.
Steve,
So
this will be the year of guests. That's my prediction.
I like it. So your assignment is to reach out to Dom,
Yep.
and my assignment is to reach out again to Paul, and we'll schedule some. It'd be
Let's do
nice
something
to
together. Yeah.
schedule some events.
Yeah, for sure.
Tina's in Boston representing.
Nice.
Tina Lemieux.
But yeah, like you said, it's just like everything else. It's like you connect the dots, You meet this person, you get introduced to another person, introduced to another person that you never would have met if you hadn't gotten, met the first person. So
Right.
that's pretty cool. And musicians are a unique bunch, as you know. You encounter fellow musicians that are just not on the same wavelength as you, that you don't connect with, and then you find other people that you were meant to connect with. So it's interesting how that works, and you form great friendships, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you play in a band with people and you really don't become friends with them. Um, which is
Yeah. Sometimes they find people that you absolutely don't like.
But not only that, it's like interesting. I read an article about Chad Smith and the Chili Peppers, and he said that him and Flea have never hung out outside of band in their entire career. They
Wow.
only
Okay.
get together on tour, but yet they're the best of friends, and they connect musically on stage, and they know intuitively, know where the other guy's going, right? So they're like in lockstep with each other. But outside of touring, they don't hang.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean they're any less friends, but they're just not tight like that.
Right. Yeah. That's surprising. I mean, that's interesting because of how long they've been together
Yeah.
and how many things you do as a band, at that level, Red Hot Chili Peppers, I mean, you're in the studio, which takes months.
That's what
So
I'm saying. So it's like maybe they don't hang out outside a band, but maybe 11 months out of the year they're touring or in the studio or writing together. So it's not like I'll see you in 6 or 8 months. I'm sure that they see plenty of each other. They just don't socialize outside a band.
right, right. But that's what ends up happening, though, because you do so many things. If you're in a band like that, where you're in the studio and you're touring and you're doing radio interviews and whatever, staying in hotels, and you end up like, even just staying in a hotel, you end up like, all right, let's go to the bar, and you go hang out at the bar, with somebody in the band, because that's your family. Joe said, would love to be a guest as only Alaska classic rock cover band former Omni Pop New Yorker here. Also was in a Kiss tribute band, Dressed to Kill from Queens. He said, you guys are fun. Let's chat. Cool. Yeah.
That's funny because I played a gig one time at Mothers in Wayne. Remember Mothers in Wayne?
Oh, I loved that club.
Awesome, right? Huge club.
Oh, that was a great club. Yeah. That's
And
where actually Twisted Sister played there back in before they were Twisted Sister, like before they were like,
yeah, before they were,
an original band. They
yeah.
used to play there and do covers and shit. So,
And we played with Strutter.
and Joe played Mothers. There
Yeah,
you go.
right. And Joe played Mothers. And I think it was either Strutter or Dressed to Kill. One of the bands had a roadie named Girth, and he was this 6'6" guy who was like 300 pounds. And I remember my guitar player got a brand new Eddie Van Halen 5150 amp, and the thing weighed like 150 pounds. Like it took two people to carry it in. The thing was like immense. And so at the end of the gig, Girth says, hey, you guys need a hand carrying something out? So the guitar player's like, hey, yeah, can you grab my amp? And dude, the guy went like this. He reached out with a straight arm, like over something, and picked it up like this, and just went like, okay, like a briefcase. He was just like, where do you need it? Where do you want to go with it? So we were talking to him, and he was laughing because they just got back from a 4-hour road trip. And if this guy was in Dressed to Kill, he might remember this. This is like 20 years ago.
He said he was a Dressed to Kill, but he said Girth, not us. So it might have been another Dressed to Kill.
No. So Girth was Strutter. He was in Strutter's band. And at that time, he told us a story where they drove, like Dressed to Kill was playing like in DC or someplace like that's 4 hours from Jersey. And they drove down there while Dressed to Kill was on stage and cut the locks off their trailer and put different locks on it, and then drove home back to Jersey. So you got to ask this guy if he ever remembers that, coming out of a gig and being locked out of their trailer.
Well, you just did, so let's see.
No, unless Girth was just telling a tall tale, but he was very convincing the way he told it, and we were like, we were laughing, and he was like, yeah, we do some effed up shit. Haha, it wasn't us. Yeah, it's funny.
Jamie asked, either of us played St. Louis. I played St. Louis, but I couldn't tell you the name of the club. I played there probably twice on tour with either Jared or John Jones or both. I remember when playing St. Louis, though. I remember the club. I just don't remember what it was called. I remember the sound man set us up and then left. And
kind of like Bourbon Street.
Kind of like Bourbon Street, yeah. But this was pre-Bourbon Street for me. And I wasn't used to that. I was like, sound man, you do sound check and then you tweak during the whole night. You should stay there. But that's my memory of St. Louis. There was a Philly Dressed to Kill, Joe says.
Okay, then that was the one. Oh, so maybe it was. Maybe they were out of Philly, right? Because that would be within 2 hours of striking distance from Mothers.
But Joe played Birch Hill. That was his regular gig.
Oh yeah,
I never played Birch Hill, but I went there a bunch of times.
I played Birch Hill once, and that was an awesome room. It was almost like a Studio One. It had that big room sound, except it wasn't as deep.
Yeah,
and the ceilings weren't as high,
Bourbon Street and Bayside. I don't know. I play Bourbon Street in New Orleans, so I don't know what he's talking about. Bayside.
Maybe.
Do you know Tommy Coletti? He asked. Tony, I don't.
I do not. I don't know.
It sounds like a musician's name, though. Tommy Coletti.
Where did Joe say he's from? Is he's from Queens? He said.
Yeah. I have to scroll back. Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's thinking.
Yeah, Kiss Tribute Band from Queens. Yeah.
Yes, that's why he's thinking Bayside, because that's out his neck of the woods.
But I guess he's in Alaska right now. I have to scroll back.
Yeah,
yeah.
Could be.
Slack Tide in Alaska.
Slack Tide.
Going way back.
Yeah, and I remember too when Strutter played, they had the fire, like they had the fire blast that would come out. They had like pyrotechnics, and there was a guy with a fire extinguisher, and this was before that fire with Great White that killed all those people. And they'd light off the flame cannons, and all the dust on the drop ceiling would catch fire and like simmer. And there was a guy with a fire extinguisher going, and just putting it out. And he would just sit there with the fire extinguisher. Then every time the pyrotechnics came out, like whatever part of the song where it blasted out the flames, he'd have to extinguish the ceiling.
Oh, that's scary.
How they got away with that, I have no idea, because it wasn't like one time and then somebody came over and was like, you can't do that anymore. It was like all night long.
Yikes. Greg asks, is Rockbox a group that has two singers, for one of whom was Disney Train and they wear football jerseys sometimes? Yes. But the guy who is Disney Train no longer is in the band. That's Eric Knight. He's in California now. The other singer is Sonny Kane, who is fantastic. And they wear football jerseys on game days.
Cool.
So yes, that is correct, Greg.
They all wear the same jersey or their own?
A Saints jersey. Yeah, like, you know. Where are we from now? I live in New Orleans now, Joe, and Tony's in Jersey.
I'm in Jersey.
Yeah. Rec Room. I remember the Rec Room. Pyro was bad for us right before Rec Room burned down. They never did it again after that project. Yeah, I played it there after it was the Rec Room. I don't remember what it was called, though.
It was Rock the House.
Rock the House, right.
It was Rec Room. And it was something before that, because we played there all the time. We used to play Rec Room all the time. And then it was Rock the House. And Jeff used to book it. I don't remember his last name. Goatee,
I love that room,
hat.
too.
Rec Room was a great room. Sarge was the sound guy there for a while. And then out Joe's neck of the woods, we used to play Lemoore all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I played Lemoore a bunch of times.
Yeah.
He said Rec Room, Rhode Island, but there was a Rec Room for us in Jersey.
Yeah, no, Rec Room he's talking about is the one with Great White Fire.
Yeah.
You're talking about Rec Room in Wallington, which was Rock the House. I don't know if it was Rec Room first and then Rock the House after that.
I didn't know that was called Rec Room. But yeah. But Eric asked if we either of us had played that place in Rhode Island, and I never did. So
no, me neither.
I did play in Rhode Island, but I couldn't, again, tell you where. So
Joe's probably played a bunch of places with the Kiss Tribute Band, because they used to tour all over the place. I remember those guys were always around.
Yeah, that's a great gig to do that if you're willing to put that makeup on.
You got to be committed to the makeup and the outfits. You know, that's a heavy lift.
Yes. All right, so another hour has passed. That's the first one in 2023, and we are delighted that you've been here with us. Go to coverbandcentral.com and sign up for a profile for you, your band, or both. It is free. That is the hub for all things Cover Band Central. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. The link is in the description. Click the bell, and you'll know every time we go live. You can check out the archives of all our stuff, but definitely subscribe. We need subscribers there. It certainly helps everything. What else, Tony? What am I missing? Anything?
A little Happy New Year cheer. What's a word for the year, Steve? Let's end on a good note. What might be a good word for the year? Yeah, what do you want to call 2023?
I'm going with abundance.
I like it.
How can you message us? Asked Joe, and I'll put it up on the screen. Goodness. I need to organize my stuff here. Steve at coverbandcentral.com is the email, and you can reach either me or Tony that way. So, or both of us. Email there for
you or me or both, and it's free.
You beat me to it. That's
nice.
That's great. All right, thanks guys for being with us for this hour. Those of you who have stuck around or just joined, and follow all the Cover Band Central stuff, and we'll see you later.
control.